Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome back to today's One Celestial Hypogean team recommendation for Snow Stomper. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the best teams with only one Celestial Hypogean unit for this boss, and I will actually make up for Necro Dragon's one as well as our dear Alpha Best one in the upcoming cycle, where I'm able to sit down and record the gameplay as well as showcase the numbers itself. But for Snow Stomper right here, the skill of Snow Stomper, or the Silent Blizzard of Snow Stomper, immediately omits, I would say, like half the Celestial Hypogean from the pool, because most of the Celestial Hypogean are very skill reliant, right? Units like Tailin is basically like, you know, very useless if you can't use the ultimate and you can't actually heal your ally because you're not losing HP fast enough. And units like Dino is not going to do much without the true damage from the EX weapon skill, without the ultimate going off to do a lot of damage when he's in the sky. And then units like Barrow is obviously not that good for Dream Realm purposes. So generally there's only, like, I'll say 3 Celestial Hypogeans that are viable for this boss, and out of these 3, I think Freyasto actually loses quite a bit of damage on this boss, I guess due to the silence, because a lot of Freyasto's damage output comes from the third skill. So I'm not sure whether or not Vicious Sting is still active when Freyasto is silenced, but I did a few runs with multiple teams before, and I think Freyasto for this boss particularly loses quite a bit of damage. So the best units, or the best Celestial Hypogeans to run for this boss would be Reina and Scarlita. So we will be recommending the teams based on these 2 units. Okay, so number 1, right, the number 1 like old team that is decently accessible and free-to-play friendly is obviously the Lightbearer team, consisting of your Tamasia, Corinne, as well as our dear Merrily over here. So this is without Lily May. So right now Lily May is one of the strongest carry in the game, so therefore you can obviously slot in Lily May to fill up the last slot itself. So this team, right, comparing it to many of the other teams out there, is not that reliant on their skills specifically, because Merrily is a normal attacker that builds damage obviously when you use the ultimate, but she's still able to do a lot of damage even if she's not spamming the ultimate. Units like Corinne as well as Tamasia, they are not that reliant on their ultimate for damage in the first place, and then you have the debuff from Tamasia's ability for more physical damage at the start, or when the units are not charged up with their true damage buff, specifically Corinne as well as Merrily. So this is one team right here. So right now Merrily is significantly stronger in terms of dealing damage against this boss. So if you have Merrily, you want to fill her in the team and then fill up the slot based on what you lack. So let's say if your team needs more survivability, then you can remove Corinne and then you can put in our dear Lucius over here, because Lucius has the Heart of Unity buff, which is able to increase your damage output, and Lucius has a decent, I'll say, like heal as well as shielding capability whenever he's able to use it, which will help your team survive even longer. So depending on what you need, you can swap out the relative Lightbearer units, right? If you feel that Tamasia's not doing as much and then your Corinne is more invested, then you put Corinne into the mix. So the general idea is as such, right? A full Lightbearer team with Reina plus Lily May as the main damage dealer. Okay, so I'll showcase one with our dear Lucius. So this one should probably survive till the end. Okay, so one thing about this boss that you guys need to take note of is also the ice prison that the boss can cast on your unit. So one thing that Tamasia does really well is she just ignores the ice prison casting and then she just rams over the ice prison to help remove it quickly. So another unit that actually kills the prison really fast is actually Merrily. So I think I did something wrong by giving the buff of Reina to Merrily. I should actually give it to Lily May, because Lily May actually hits a lot harder. But with this team itself, as you guys can see, because we have the shielding capability from Corinne, we have the shielding capability from Lucius, we are able to survive quite well, and then we are able to do a lot of damage from there. So what I can do better is probably give the buff that is currently on Merrily to Lily May. So that's for the Reina stuff. So basically for Scarlita and Reina, you can just take them out from the team and then change to another one based on the recommendation. So this is with our dear Reina as the unit over here, and as you guys can see, Lily just does so much more damage. And now, right, we're gonna swap it over to our dear Scalita, I guess, right? So for Scalita's case, because I already have Scalita's Heart of Unity, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use Termeasure for this showcase, just to show you guys what Termeasure can do for the team. Okay, so this is the Lightbearer direction that you guys might want to use for your own team. There's another team which I use a lot as well, and that is the OD team. So the Mauler OD team is, I'll say, decently viable, right, because of Shakir's recent buff, which actually gives a lot of power up for OD on the front line specifically. So this is the Lightbearer one. Later on I'll showcase the Mauler one, and then I'll do a hybrid comp which I used to use without Merrily that you guys can use as well. Yeah, so the hybrid comp also does pretty well. This is actually from the older Snow Stomper video for the team preseason itself. So for those of you guys that are in a preseason, you guys can definitely use this strat. So when you use Scalita itself, right, Scalita buffs the team, but Scalita doesn't survive that well. So this is one issue with Scalita right here. So if you kind of want to protect Scalita, then you can obviously use this formation right here that is recommended, I mean that is used by the top player, right? And then you remove all the Celestial Hypogean unit, and then you link to Scalita, for example, and then let's say you want to get more physical damage, then you can put in Termeasure for the buff itself. So this team is also relatively viable, because for Torrent's case, when he's fighting against this boss, he's silenced most of the time, so he will be just normal attacking, and when Torrent is normal attacking, he's able to proc the debuff from the seasonal skill Mark of Agony, which increases the damage that Snow Stomper takes. So that's why this team also works. This team works on the hybrid end as well. So that's for the Lightbearer sharing side. So next we're gonna do the hybrid, the Mauler team that I talked about. So same thing, we want to have Lily May. So if you don't have Lily May, it's basically Merrily and one other carry, right? So for the Lightbearer side, if you don't have Lily May, then it's OD, right? So that is how you swap between the carries, but I'll be using Lily May to just showcase the prowess of the team if you do have this unit built up. So we have OD as well. So for OD's case, right now I'm gonna put Shakir in the front line. So Shakir in the front line. So this is because when Shakir transforms, he will jump into the middle and he will actually offer a haste buff for your units within the Lupin aura itself. So putting him in the center is able to align him such that the buff benefits the most unit. And then previously we actually ran Kruger for hybrid damage, but because if you take a look at this right now, if you're not using any physical attacker, putting Kruger in is actually a waste of debuff in that slot. So you did rather have other units to fill up that slot. And then just now we did mention that you can use Torrent for the team, so you can obviously use Torrent for this one for the additional debuff as well as the protection of the units. So this is what I'm gonna do. I guess I'm gonna switch in Merrily to just put Merrily in front to benefit from the aura, and I'm gonna put Torrent as well. Yeah, I'm gonna put Torrent here. Okay, protect our dear OD. So this is the, I'll say, like the Mauler team you can use. So if you don't have Torrent, but if you have, for example, let's say you have Satrana built up, for example, right, then you can also use Satrana, because Satrana is also a very good magical booster. And on top of that, right, Lily May, who is your main source of damage, or like the hardest hitting carry right now, is a magical damage dealer, so she will benefit a lot from the magical debuff or the magical damage increase that Satrana is able to provide with the seasonal skill. So that is if you have Satrana invested. Okay, I think what I could have done is I could have linked Shakir to Torrent, yeah, just to let Shakir survive a little bit longer to do more damage. So that's what I'm gonna do, because right here I realized that I messed up a little bit, because yeah, I messed up a little bit because my Shakir died pretty early, so I lost the aura really early on. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put Torrent, but this time around we're gonna change out Reina for Scalita instead. Okay, so Reina for Scalita. Okay, we're gonna put Shakir, we're gonna link Shakir to Torrent, because Shakir is quite important, I would say. Shakir. Okay, and then we put OD. So OD is okay, but it would be good if OD can actually benefit from Lupin aura. Okay, I think the Lupin aura is something that I kind of want to consider when when I position. So right here you guys can see the circle. So now she jumps to the right side, which is able to benefit Lily May. So that's where the carries get the haste buff for additional damage, and then the frontliner gets the damage reduction as well as the haste buff to sort of tank up in the front lines itself. Okay, so this is the same team, but we use Scarletta in the place of Reina. So Scarletta died pretty early as well. So I think if you're using Scarletta, you might want to link Torrent to Scarletta instead, because I think Scarletta is actually more frail compared to Shakir. Shakir actually is more tanky by nature. But I think this team still does pretty well. So 41, 42 billion there. Okay, so switch out the positioning, and then this is the damage distribution. So OD basically serves the role of Merrily, right, in the Lightbearer team, and then Shakir serves the role of, I'll say, like Termesia for the additional buff and stuff, and then Torrent for the additional debuff as well as protection for the other allies. So that's for the the Mauler side. Okay, so what if you don't have Lily May? What's another team option that you guys can use? So you guys can definitely use one of the older team options that I showcased before, but I'm just going to showcase it again because that video might have been like forgotten by a lot of people. So this is one team which I recommended before. Okay, so we swap in our dear, where's my Reina? Yeah, we swap in a Reina here. So what will happen is you will actually send in OD in the front line, and then Shakir will transform in the front line, and then one more frontliner will actually also benefit from the Lupin aura itself. And on top of that, because your OD is all the way on the front line, OD will be taking the Ice Prison more often, right, or taking the debuff more often because of the max HP, and then Merrily can help to break out from the prison as fast as possible. So previously it was Kruger on the front line because of Shakir's physical attack damage as well as our dear Merrily's physical attack before she gets the true damage side. But right now I think Torrent would be a better option to just keep Shakir or OD alive. So I think for this one I kind of want to protect my OD, so let's link it to OD and let's start this battle. Okay, so in this boss itself, I think you have quite a few options, but generally you want a dual carry because of the Ice Prison itself, because for the Ice Prism, it targets the unit that deals the most damage. So if you only have one damage dealer, the pressure is on that damage dealer to deal damage, and when that unit gets prison and is not moved out of the prison ASAP, you lose a lot of damage from there. So that's why this is one team that used to work, but I think right now might not be like the top tier teams anymore. So like, yeah, I think we can still hit 41 bill, so it's still decent enough. I think it is still quite a good number. It's just that it's not like the top tier. So these are the few team recommendations with only Scarletta or Reina in the team that you guys might want to use. And obviously if you can use the both of them together, then you will get the most optimal team, which is this team showcase right here. If not, I think you getting at least 40 bill, 41, 42 bill is more than sufficient to get a good rank in most servers anyway. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like and subscribe to see more. See you guys again in the next One Celestial Hypogean team recommendation. Bye guys.